Now we've been joined by Houston head coach Tom Herman. The Cougars are 9-0 overall, 5-0 in the American Athletic Conference, ranked number 16 in both national pools this week. Houston was in action this past Saturday against Cincinnati, and Houston won the game 33-30. Up next for the Cougars will be this Saturday against Memphis at TD-ECU Stadium. Game will be a 7 p.m. Eastern Time start and will be televised on ESPN2. Coach, thanks for joining us on the call today. If you would take a minute to tie up the win against Cincinnati, and then tell us what you expect to see as you return home to face Memphis on Saturday, please.
Yeah, really good team win. Although the yardage numbers don't appear as such, I thought we played really hard on defense, caused 3 turnovers, which were critical for us. Still battling a little bit of some depth issues on the offensive line and struggled to move the ball at times, but scored enough to win. It was great atmosphere. That's a really good football team in Cincinnati, and they've got 3 or 4 players, including the quarterback, that are be playing on Sundays, and they're a heck of a ball club, and it was good to see our guys tested for a 4-quarter game. We really hadn't had one of those since the Louisville game on the road in week 2. So it's always good, even though we certainly feel we've got a lot to improve upon, to come out with a win in a 4-quarter game like that. I think will serve us well heading into the last few weeks of the season.
We'll take questions for Coach Herman. Please hit *1 on your telephone to join the queue. Then the operator will introduce you.
Our first question comes from Dan Tortora from Dan Tortora Broadcast Media.
Hi, Coach. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Dan. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for asking. I wanted to look at not just your upcoming game, but knowing the fact that in the American Athletic West, you have Navy and Memphis right behind you, and you'll be playing both of them in your final 3 games of the season. Just what you can say about those upcoming games and the talent that you see from Navy and Memphis.
Well, we certainly knew when the schedule was released that these last 4 games were going to be the meat of our schedule, and with Cincinnati, Memphis on the road at UConn in the middle of November, and then come back home on a short week to play Navy. It's going to be a 4-week grind. Certainly 3 of the best teams in our conference, and UConn is playing well as well. So try not to look at it from a big picture aspect in terms of just being able to take it one game at a time. We're going to have our hands full this week, especially versus Memphis. But to answer your question, Navy is playing about as good as anybody in the conference right now as well.
And then as far as your defense, holding Cincinnati at the end, preventing that field goal that would have tied the game, as well as a touchdown that could have won the game, just what you can say about your defense able to turn the ball over on downs for you, and just where they are as a unit right now.
Yeah, playing with a lot of confidence, and although the quarterback threw for 500 and something yards, I never sensed any dejection on the sideline, no head hanging, no woe is me feeling. I think they were ready each and every series to go back out there and fight, and very similar situation at Louisville. We couldn't run the clock out, had to punt it away to them up by 3, and so now that's twice this season that the defense has been put in that situation and rose to the occasion. So I think it gives them a lot of confidence. Again, you'd like certainly for the numbers to be a little bit less than they were, but really at the end of the day, the only number that matters is the score, and they held them to 3 points less than we scored, and they themselves scored 9 points. So I think they've still got a lot of confidence heading into this week.
Thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have our next question from Tom Shad from Memphis Commercial Appeal.
Hey, Coach. How you doing this morning?
Doing great, Tom. And you?
Not too bad, thanks. So you and Justin Fuente are often lumped into this group of hot up-and-coming coaches, and I was wondering, first of all, could you compare and contrast your coaching style with Coach Fuente's, and then secondly, what are some of the characteristics that a young, quote-unquote, up-and-coming coach needs to have success?
I don't know about comparing and contrasting. I've never really been around Justin. The last time I went and visited him when he was the offensive coordinator at TCU, and so obviously a much different dynamic there. I haven't spent a whole lot of time with him. He's a lot better looking than me, so he's got that going for him. It's not hard to beat. But and then I think just that I think in today's day and age, you've got to be a great recruiter. I think you win with talent. You don't win with any of the, there's no secret offense or secret defense. You win with really good players, and I think Justin's done a really good job recruiting there to Memphis. And from what I can see on film, his guys play really, really hard and pretty disciplined in terms of assignment, which is also the mark of a good coach. And then I think you've got to be a champion for your program too, especially at places like Memphis and Houston. You've got to be pounding the pavement, doing anything and everything you can to make sure that that your team, especially locally, playing in an urban market, a big city market, that people understand that you're putting a good product out on the field, and that your players are working and playing really, really hard to make not only the city of Memphis in his case, or the city of Houston in our case, proud, but really the entire states that we reside in.
Thanks, Coach.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a question from David Caraviello from Charleston Post and Courier.
Tom, how would you assess what the state of the Houston program was like when you got there, and kind of what you had to build with when you started?
Well, they'd won 8 games the 2 previous years, so we knew that, I don't know, that there was probably some talent here, and certainly any disparagement to the previous staff would be ill-advised, because they did win 8 games in back-to-back years. But I think there was just something was just maybe missing a little bit, maybe some accountability issues. I think there was some divisiveness on the team as far as offense and defense, and some players were allowed to do some things and others weren't. And so I think just the standard of accountability that we came in very heavy-handedly to preach to our guys, that didn't matter if you were the third-string nose tackle or the first-string quarterback, that you were going to be held to a certain standard each and every day in this program. And we showered them with tough love early. We were very hard and very firm, and didn't budge in our stance and in the way that we were implementing our culture. And luckily enough, we had some older guys that bought in early. I think that's really key when you come in and take over. Usually the older guys are kind of the ones that are on the tail end of the buy-in factor, because they've been doing something a certain way for so long. And we were fortunate enough that we had guys like Landon Roberts and Adrian McDonald and Kenneth Farrow that from the word jump, they were in with both feet, and did everything we told them to, and then some, and really kind of dragged the rest of the team with them.
And to follow that up real quick, how do you handle seeing your name on lists and stuff like that for prospective openings coming up?
Well, I just, I was never going to comment about another job other than to say, that my wife and my family are extremely happy here at Houston. And anytime that happens, I think it's a testament to the people we have here at Houston, and the program that we're building, and the success that we're having. So other than that, it really has no bearing on anything that we do on a day-to-day basis.
Tom, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coach, well, thank you for your time today. We look forward to hearing from you again next Monday.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Okay, again, Coach Tom Herman from Houston. The Cougars will